the sensory organs, I have them, sight, eyes, heart is there. Allah SWT says, I've given them all this, yet they do not understand. They have hearts, they do not understand. They have ears, they do not hear. They have eyes, they do not see. This is referring to the eyes of the heart. This is referring to the ears of the heart. This is referring to the understanding of the heart, not of the mind. Those who are there with us in journeying within, we studied all this. And mind is something different from the conscious being. This is the heart that we are talking, which is capable of understanding. Allah says they have hearts, yet they do not understand it. And then Allah SWT says, "Ulaika kal-an'am." Allahu Akbar. These are like cattle. Allah is saying they are human beings, but they are like cattle. Bal hum adhal. Worse than cattle. And then the key word that we were studying in Journeying Within, he says, Ulaika humul ghafilun, heedless. They are heedless, meaning consciously they are dead. So the core of this journey and purification is not knowledge, how much I can apply. And believe me, whatever the Sheikh told me, we should try and reflect on that. He said, yes, we've done 30 stations, we know about the 30 stations, but how much of those 30 stations have I practiced? Now, in Yaqda, there are 6 prescriptions of waking up. Yaqda means to wake up in this journey. Check, this is the first station that we are in. We are recapping all those previous ones, right? أَلَمْ يَأْنِ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن تَخْشَعَ قُلُوبُهُمْ لِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Has not time come for believers? Allah is posing the question for believers. Has time not yet come? What are you waiting for? That's basically what it means. What are you guys waiting for? Hasn't time yet come for believers that they humble their hearts towards the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Fudail bin Iyad, that's the one we have been talking about, was a desert pirate and a sinner at it. Once he, in his mission of piracy in the desert, his eye falls on a beautiful young lady. And he follows this young lady till she gets into her village. And he finds out where she lives. At night, the prescription number 1 is, sorry, I forgot that. The prescription number 1 of waking up is reciting the Holy Quran. Reciting, that's the first prescription for a person's heart to wake up. Now, how does this ayah help? This is one beautiful example that this tells us, Riwayah tells us, that Fudail ibn Iyad saw this young lady and he plans that at night I am going to jump over the wall of this lady's house and I'm going to perform that evil act on this lady. So when night comes in, Fudail ibn Iyad jumps over the wall. As he's about to jump the wall, there is a man who's reciting the ayats of the Holy Quran, and one of the ayats that Fudail heard was أَلَمْ يَعْنِ لِلَّذِينَ أَن تَخْشَعُ قُلُوبُهُمْ لِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Has time not come yet for believers to humble their hearts towards Allah? Fudail heard that ayah. And what was the reaction? Immediately he says, "Labbaik." And the call was there that are coming. And then history tells us that this man, Fudail ibn Iyad, became one of the greatest of Arif. A change. Wake up. It was something that shook him to wake up. There are times people need calamities to wake up. Allah plays around with the carpet under your feet. A couple of calamities on you, and that's the time you wake up. But these are ways of waking people up. Some short waves, some need a bigger treatment, some need only a small treatment. So it all depends on different people. Number 2 prescription is be kind to the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the prescriptions of waking up. Allah SWT gives a beautiful example. The author of Al-Mizan, Tafsir Al-Mizan, Allah SWT, he says one of the secrets of my success is that one day when I was, at the time when I was a student, I was going from the house up back home, and I saw some boys playing on the streets, and they had captured a bird and put the bird in the cage. Now this is fitri, akhlaq that you asked. Something that comes in from within. Not that I have to free that bird. It has to come from within. Allah SWT had this mercy, the rahm in him. And he goes to these boys and pleads to them, why don't you free this bird? He says, you know, it took us such a while to get this bird. It's not going to be free just for us to free it just like that. You're going to pay something. Now at that time, Allah SWT says he was a student. And he had some coins in his pocket. That was probably for his provision. Everything that he had in his pocket, he gave it to the boys and he freed the bird. He says, such a great scholar, that I attribute my success in my life to this act of mine. Something small we call it, but it is coming from within, something that is natural. Number 2. Number 3, Urafat, they say, to have a spiritual friend with you in this wake-up. Now, before we go into that, I'm referring this to myself, okay? In this journey, it all depends how much appetite I have for this journey. Is there a craving within me that I want to purify myself? Or is it something else? It has to be coming in from within the appetite. If I'm hungry, then I love biryani, my friend. But I've just had biryani. You offer me biryani again, I'm not interested in biryani again. I need to have that hunger, that thirst for this. So for me, if I'm serious, then I need to look at who I befriend. So I need a spiritual friend, a person who on a regular basis, because of the state of ghafla that I get into, I need a person who regularly reminds me of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who regularly reminds me of death. Not friends who all the time think about mobile phones and cars and houses and luxuries, and not that. I need a friend who is spiritual. Number 4, Urafat, they say, get into the habit of dua. Dua meaning communication with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not necessarily that you communicate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only when you are on the prayer mat. Even when you are driving your car, talk to God. He is there. He is listening. He is your company. My wife would not listen to me as attentive as God would. Why don't I talk to him on a regular basis? Make it a habit of communicating with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, on the musalla it's a different ball game, but even otherwise. Number 5, prescription for waking up, majalisul dhikr. I don't go into the details of it. Majalisul dhikr is such a gathering where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned on a regular basis. Number 6, we talked about it, calamities. When calamities come, take this as a launching pad for waking up. And not as a calamity itself, as a musibah itself, no. Take it as an opportunity that has come to wake me up. Now, obstacles of waking up. What are the obstacles in this journey? This is the first station of realizing. Like Fudayl ibn Iyad, Ya Allah, time has come. All from within, all from within. Time has come. We see, you know, these deaths that take place, really speaking, these are ayats for us, these are signs for us. It gives us that shock. When you get this information that this boy who was my student in madrasa, okay, and before he went to India, he came to my shop and we did his photograph for his visas and all that. So really, I personally know him. And when somebody calls me today afternoon and tells me that this boy has passed away, so I said, hang on a second, what's happening? That easy? I'll give you another example. Someone sent me a clip on YouTube of a 2-year-old child answering Islamic question. That's not my discussion. But when you open YouTube, on the side you have other clips, relevant clips that come in. In one of the clips, it says, Sheikh dies whilst lecturing. Hey. You know what I mean? Sheikh dies whilst lecturing. I didn't see the 2-year-old kid. I went to this, I said, I want to see how it all happens. Habibi, I'll tell you what. You can't believe it, it's so fast. He's sitting there. He's got a mic in his hand. Bearded man. He's talking about hukuk of the parents. What are the rights of parents? And there's mass people are listening just like you are listening. He's talking. He's talking, Baba. He's not on his deathbed, Baba. He's not sick. He's not in the hospital. He is giving a lecture. He's got a mic in his hand and he's talking. All of a sudden, whilst he's talking, his hand drops down. And in a fraction of a second, he falls. And that's it. People go and carry him and he's gone. Hang on a second, man. Now, these are signs for waking up. These are signs for waking up, man. Shaitan comes and tells me, Baba, you can't go like that, Baba. It's there. Who they? Those who are saying they are referring to me. So it can happen. So these are signs for us to wake up. Now what are the obstacles? The first obstacle is incompetence. A firm resolution to abstain from sinning, for instance, number one. Number two, second obstacle is worldly attachments. Getting too much attached to the world, and we discussed the ego, how the ego survives on attachment of things. We need to be egoless. So detach yourself from things. When you lose things, material things, don't bother about it. Don't bother. You have lost nothing. In fact, when you lose something, be happy that you have found yourself. Because by stripping of things that the ego has attached, you come out. Isn't that? Isn't that what we learned? Detach yourself from the world. So worldly attachments is an obstacle. Obedience to passion. Obedience to passion. You know, when I give classes like this, I consider myself as a pious man. Within, deep down, in front of people, I'll be humble. I say, no, Bana, you know, I am nothing. I'm nothing. But inside, you're saying, Bana, oh, you're something. Inside, you're something. Right? Muqaddas are the many. We also talk about him. Muqaddas is the name holy. Title, imagine the title. Pure, holy, Muqaddas are the many. He was asked that if you are locked in a room with a young girl, what would be your reaction? And immediately he says, I do not trust myself. I would put this in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the devil is such that I don't even trust myself. Obedience to passion is how many times in our businesses, in our relations with the opposite gender, we want to try and create a communication, a conversation with the opposite gender, trying to fulfill our inner desires. That's an obstacle, according to this course. Overeating is one of the obstacles, and unnecessary talk is an obstacle. So this is basically a yaqza, the first station. After I have managed to wake up from within and understand and realize where am I heading for, what is my current state. If I were to die in this state, what would be my position in the grave? So these are questions that should come in. After that, the consolation that we all have, that irrespective of what age you may be at this moment, whatever age you may be, however big your sin may have been, the consolation is that the door of Tawbah is open for us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept that door of Tawbah is open for us. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the Holy Quran, He says, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَتُبْ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ. The person who does not do tawbah, that person has been unjust. Imagine, God is saying that the door of tawbah is open. If you don't do tawbah, you've done injustice to yourself. So come and offer tawbah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of His attributes, let's recite a salawat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the attributes that He is at-tawwab. At-tawwab. What does at-tawwab mean? At-tawwab literally means that Allah is searching for the one who offers tawbah. Is searching. Tawwab is waiting for the one.